Okay, I stopped my mic being muted. Undeafen, we say, hey, hi, howdy. Welcome to Failed Portrayal. Sorry, I was a little slow on the draw there. I was in the middle of clearing some Master Duel missions to complete solo mode. I still have one match to do, but I'll do that later. You guys don't need to hear me off mic, or off screen, I should say, bumble my way through. Sorry, I was slightly unscented. But bumble through cool tune combos. No, I think the audio output's fine, YouTube. I see all the bars going. If you're curious why we are playing Devil May Cry music, it's because we're going to talk about Fiendsmith today. Why are we going to talk about Fiendsmith today? Well, it's because it won the Patreon poll with one singular vote. So, one, if you don't think your vote matters, it totally does. But also, if you didn't want to hear about a meta engine archetype that was popular for like a year and is technically still somewhat popular because the cards still exist, and like other than some of them being like limit 1 and whatever, they're still all legal. It's just I think people are tired of them. Actually, no, they did get rid of Closed Heaven, I think. So like you can't turn any two monsters into Fiendsmith engine. But yeah, it was a Patreon poll, so check it out. This month's poll is already up, so you should check that one out as well. You can vote for something else, like Soul Jersey, which was Loth's pick, and I will acknowledge it now because it ran for a whole month, but Dallas asked me to put a Magic the Gathering block on the poll list and not say anything about it, and last month, and I did, and there were no votes for it. So now I'll explicitly mention, by the way, there's a Magic the Gathering block, if you like when we do those as funnies. Maybe we will do the Warhammer 40k one on a different time. Anyway, we're failing. We're portraying. It's just me for now, but hopefully there will be some mores later. I know Axe said that he's planning on being there, but also it's apparently snowing? I know he's at a high altitude, but that seems wrong for May. Though, if it's anything like certain drivers in regions, you know, like in Florida and other places, even just a little extra smattering of precipitation, everybody will be like super slowed down, even if it isn't that big of a deal.
Hey,
yeah,
I walked through the icy. I came through the rain, the icy rain, and then just called a car because fuck running in the icy rain.
Yeah, no, don't run through freezing.
And then I found this broken jukebox across the street because someone like drop kicked it, saying this party has gone crazy. And there's like this weird clown guy that like died on the street. So like, how you doing?
Yes, yeah. I was just talking about why we're playing the Devil May Cry music. It's because we're going to talk about Fiendsmith finally. This one's been a poll one for a while, but it won. And
we got a silver bullet. Sorry, I keep making Devil May Cry jokes.
They did do a valuable book EX on it, and in fact, it turns out that the lore is that it's just Devil May Cry. Like it's Dante,
it's
but there's no
more,
Virgil, basically.
It's Devil May Cry, but even more anime because it's like, I'm just gonna cut it short. His partner is around because he basically marriage trapped a succubus by a complete mistake.
Yeah. So before we actually cover the cards, and we can talk about some of this.
So it's like the whole fucking, it's like Dante 3 with the guitar thing, but he actually like flirted with the girl instead of just pretending that he didn't know what sex was.
Yeah. The summary is basically, so Fiendsmith Engraver, the head honcho, we'll pull him up in a second, in a little bit, but he's just a guy.
He's just a punk rocker.
Well, he is a demon hunter, but he's a human man. He has the coffin object Requiem, which can transform, that he acquired from some sort of demonic contract. the how do I even say this? As sometimes this happens with Yu-Gi-Oh lore when they're not specific, right? A lot of it is phrased as like, what's the way to say it? It's phrased like a question, or like it's not just that it's phrased ambiguously, though it is also ambiguous. It's like specifically kind of like it could be this, or maybe it was just this. It's like reading the summary of somebody's web novel, where they're like trying to hook in the readers, except if you've bought the valuable book EX, you want to know.
Well, it's just that most of the unfortunately most web novels, it's machine translated and then someone edited it later to actually look presentable.
But
that's more probably just that's more just
this
a call
at least
out
I'm pretty sure actually. I'm pretty sure that we don't the valuable.
Well, I assume we don't for these because it's like I assume it's like a person did it because that's kind of the whole thing of like organization where they actively try to do it.
Yes, no, there is a Yu-Gi-Oh community that at least attempts to translate these things, and I'm pretty sure that's where most of our summaries.
They also make a point about how like it's hard because sometimes it's like layered puns.
Yeah, but the short version is that Engraver, the Fiendsmith, is a guy who just wants to fight demons. Either because he makes money, or just because demons are there and he must punch them.
I mean, it looks like demons killed the world if he's like in this bombed-out city. Or it's doing the whole SMT / Demon City Shinjuku thing of like a demon infestation, or even I guess fucking Taimon and shit, where it's like demons came into the human world and basically killed like a large chunk of a country, or at least an entire city is now gone and now it's just demon territory.
The phrasing seems to be that it is an otherworld type situation. The summary is like, This is the tale of a man who lives in the underworld. So
I mean,
like,
in the like the dark world.
So he's
the
gone
dark world
to
Makai, like Hades and shit like that.
Like, he's gone to the other side type world. Hell, underworld, whatever.
I need to see a card of literally the fucking is it the Muckraker? I forget of like the underworld.
There's Muckraker, who's the
I'm given like an interview to him and like his like with him and as a girl, just like them in a fucking muscle car or something, and like he's getting interviewed,
so
or like getting a ticket by the beat cop, or like getting pulled over by like
that one weird like art meme that crops
or like
up a little
or like stealing the
couple
tour bus from the tour guide.
Would steal the tour bus. The point though is that and because Fiendsmith Engraver is also a Light Fiend himself. Spoilers, this is a Light Fiend archetype that became a really critical thing. But he is apparently so brutal when he fights demons that he is himself called the demon and dubbed the Fiendsmith. And so he fights all the demons. He has a coffin, he summons familiars. He does have, battle forms, which are the fusion and link monsters higher, which is basically... demons have tags. This would just be a character action game thing, but apparently demons in this, half-realized fictional setting have literal dog tags that have their true names on them. So Fiendsmith just feeds Requiem the dog tags, or his familiars the dog tags, and that lets him summon them out of it to transform into various demonic forms. But also... he heard rumors about, the woman who cries crimson tears. And he's like, shit,
right,
that's
right,
crazy.
Lacrima, because that's tears,
yes,
yeah.
That's Lacrima is Latin for tears. But the Fiendsmith, just, went to see her and then, fought. And then she confused, the contract thing that he talks about, beating up demons and forcing them to be a contract for a marriage proposal, and then, they ended up teamed up. It is, like, a little funny, because it does say in the description that, like, Lacrima's, the reason why Lacrima's another, monster card is she's not sealed inside the sequence. As a result, she can astrally project to give him energy. But in order to use her power, he has to offer words of love, which is funny. but they do have like a a cute ending where they team up because apparently, at least according to the translation, the Fiendsmith confronts Mephistopheles, the most evil source of existence and the source of the day of the devil that caused the end of the world as everyone knew it. So maybe it is the demon apocalypse. They seem to go back and forth about it being the underworld and then also the world is over. Which, to be fair, I kind of feel like, what is it? Devil May Cry is also, like, weird about. I've only played a little bit of the games, but from what I've been able to absorb from, like, clips and seeing other people and reading about it is that the setting of Devil May Cry is very vague, other than that there is a demon world where you're not supposed to go anymore because of Dante and Virgil's dad. He sealed it. But people keep breaking shit open, so demons keep popping out, and so you gotta punch them. What other people know about, various levels of demoning is unknown. But apparently, despite you're supposed to keep the world separate, large enough demon incursions to wipe out cities can occur. Mostly so Dante can, or Nero, or Virgil, can kill lots of demons.
Right, something wrong. I lost track of something. Sorry.
I had no further thing to comment, so I was pausing for a second.
Okay.
Okay, it could also be the wiki does list. It could also be a reference to Gungrave, which I think is also probable. That's it.
I think also, yeah, Gungrave is also a big deal too. Like, I think
that's a video game
Gungrave,
franchise, though it's by Sega, but it involves a weaponized coffin.
I mean, like, I'm not sure I'm gonna go back to 14 in a while. I just not feeling it. But Pandemonium, that was just fucked up. That was like all the different kinds of Capcom. So, like, it makes you think about that kind of thing. Different companies, but considering how considering how I think about how like Runic feels like it's a reference to literally like wizardry or any fucking Elder Scrolls game.
Or just any of the ye old first-person dungeon crawlers. Weren't popular in Japan?
I'm saying wizardry was very popular in Japan.
Right, that's right. Wizardry was also doing the first-person.
Yeah.
Stuff. That's one of the Wizardry is one of those weird ones where like it's a super foundational like series of video games.
I'm talking about the game versions, not the apps you can buy that are conversions of the books.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, the video games. The video games are fucking old, is what I'm saying. Like, that's a foundational video game series I've basically entirely missed because it was, like, lived and died entirely before I knew, what the fuck I was doing with media.
I should mention this, but I was born the day Mega Man came out. So technically it's 11th anniversary, so, like, a Mega Man's 11 years older than me, exactly. I'm a Star Force kid.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you playing it. There are a couple of other weird things to note about like the structure that like the wiki has called out. The archetype is focused around level 6s as a thing, or multiples of 6. All of the monsters have various relationships with attack and defense in multiples of 600. The storyline in Valuable Book EX is number 6. It's EX5, and the 6th story is Fiendsmith. Also, funnily enough, I don't know if this was intended, but Fiendsmith was released at Master Duel on the 6th of February last year. This also, unfortunately, means that they have synergy with rank 6s, which can include the Fiend, High King Wave Caesar, who is Fiend-locked. He requires 2 level 6 fiends, so it's really easy for you to summon him, and he's really annoying because he can detach to block it. This is also probably what got Beatrice banned for hopefully the final time, banned everywhere, was Fiendsmith, because again, we've talked about this when we did do the Burning Abyss episode. Beatrice's effect is super giga dumb, where it rewards you for making her not in Burning Abyss. So if you could just make light 6s, it's actually, she's really good. There was also kind of a fabled engine. Most people shaved it just to Lurie for a reason we'll talk about when we talk about their spell cards. And there's a bunch of extra, like, generic fusion monsters that were put out either by the OCG or in the TCG first, which helped this out in the 6-axis that we can talk about. But there was a lot of, funny little synergies that you could do with this, right? So, as a light Fiend deck, as an example, things you could tech this in, because spoilers, the reason why I'm having a kind of a long setup tail on this is actually talking about the Fiendsmith cards will be not too long because there aren't too many of them. It seems
there's like
intentional.
8 of them, I think.
I think there might be more than 8.
Let's see. There's like
12 of them.
Okay, 12. Okay.
I was like,
that
I was
wasn't
thinking
that
10,
far.
so I was low also. What I was going to say, though, is that this seems intentionally designed by Konami as an engine, as a package, and not meant to be played as a pure deck. I don't think, because half of them are extra deck cards, I don't think if you maxed on 3 copies of every single card in this deck, you would
only 18
have a
cards.
full 40. Yeah. Maybe 18 in main deck only. Yeah, so, like, even if you play
you run. Yeah, you
staples,
have to splash or something else. Yeah.
like, it's just... And so... A lot of these cards feel designed that way, for better or worse. This is why I said earlier, before you charged to the freezing rain to get here. Many of you watching at home are probably loosely familiar with Fiendsmith because this was the meta engine du jour for, like, I literally just said it. It came out February 6th of 25 in Master Duel. So if you've been playing Master Duel, it's been around for over a year. It was around
Honestly,
longer in the OCG.
it'd be really funny if they just made 12 more Fiendsmith cards, but it's the virtual character.
Oh, if he's blue, that'd be so funny.
But it's also a different design, so it'd be like it's a guy in a suit with like clean hair, but like has like fucking like monstrous fucking demon hands or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they could make it work. So,
or they do the reverse thing if it's a girl with a demon sidekick, a demon guy sidekick.
That could also be funny. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's intentional. There's a whole, I don't want to get into it, but there's probably a whole thesis statement about certain styles of Japanese video games having male protagonists and like having a fake love interest who usually rotates every game like a Bond girl, except that
I'm in the weird camp where I always think that I knew about this. DMC2 originally wasn't DMC2. It should have just been about Lucia, and that would have been fine as a game because I think everything in those mechanics works fine for her stuff.
Yeah, the DMC2 has a troubled history. What I was gonna say is I don't actually think Japan is that intense on Bond, but I did recently watch the Dungeon Chill video about the Vampire Hunter D video game.
Yep.
It's a great video. You should go watch it, chat. But talked about the original novels out there. How D also kind of has like girl of the week who falls madly in love with him, and then he's just like.
It's because each book is like. It's because each book has is decades between each other in time.
Well, yeah, no, it's like you're going for
at least
a
in the
vibe
world.
where it's probably also designed so you can kind of pick up and put down each of them, like not necessarily going for a continuity between them.
Most of them are like 2 to 3 book arcs, unless you get the English versions with stuff publishing after book 30. So there's like at least 20 to 30 books that aren't available unless you can read them.
We can help, let's talk about news, but it's one of those things where is that just the way you do it because you want the kind of romantic character buy-in for the people at home, but you also don't want the continuity of writing your hero in a steady relationship. So instead, you get weird shit where like I said, I haven't played the games, but I know a decent amount about them because a lot of people have streamed them and stuff. Like Dante, what are you doing? You have 2 hot women who hang around in your office all the time, and you don't do anything but eat pizza.
Okay.
What's your problem? I know one
the
looks like his
problem is,
mother, but still,
Trish is like weird.
Doing?
Lady though,
Hang out at your
I don't
house?
know what you're doing, man. Like Lady's right there, but I also think Lady might also just not want attachments that kind of way. Because she has a whole thing about being
only
independent
wears a coat
because
and never wears a shirt. So I don't know. Maybe they just hang. Maybe it's like reverse. They just hang her out with him because he's hot.
He does, but that's because he's a cool uncle status. Also, Nero literally has a wife.
Yes, no, that at least I appreciate that in 4 they start early with no. This guy has a girl he likes. Then the whole game is going to be about getting back to her, and then it's like a subplot in 5. Which also I'll have to double check. I assume she's
him talking
named
to her is a
Kyrie
big
because
him
it's
talking to her.
a yeah, it's like a major like thematic swell point. But I assume her being named Kyrie is a reference to something about Christian hymnals because there is also a spell card called Fiendsmith Kyrie.
I mean, probably.
So
I mean,
I
she's
assume
she's literally from like a Satanist Pope town. I'm not joking about that. I'm saying that it's literally a Satanist
I know
church.
some of the beats.
But,
like I said, I've seen clips because a lot of the like Hololive girls and other VTubers have played Devil May Cry games. They're very popular stream games. I'll put it on our calendar sometime. But I think we're taking a break from Resident Evil, but I think we're working on Resident Evil big time this year.
I will say, oddly enough, skip 2, but play the Switch version of 3 because it actually has better controls.
Well, I don't think that's probably not going to happen because I already own the 123 HD collection.
Fair enough.
On PlayStation. I already bought that for like $4.
One is jank, but like it is very much like you could feel it's a Resident Evil game that tried to do actual like combos and stuff.
Honestly, not to bog down the stream too much, but we're not going to take too long before I got to get back to Saros and live, die, repeat on Carcosa. Also, Lucky said this, and I think in the Tabletop Cabal, but he's absolutely correct. He's like, hey, I've heard that if you're a King in Yellow head, this game is great. Spoilers. Yeah, no. They're doing all kinds of weird shit.
Okay.
I posted in the middle of the night. DJ Paladin is my white rapper name. Go ahead.
I hope you at some point understand you're probably going to throw us through Impossible Landscapes, or is that not kind of your shtick of, unless you're not an idea of
I don't
King
know
Yellow?
if the gang will really go for Impossible Landscapes.
Because the thing that's what like is, 1 or 2 of our players are going to die.
No, yeah, Impossible Landscapes is a mindfuck. I
There's
won't say that this
like,
playing Saros
people will leave
won't
them
turn
for
into
that.
a Delta Green scenario at some point or some other scenario. I never finished writing it. I could probably repackage it, but I did originally intend a Eclipse Phase campaign as a huge King in Yellow send-up. With
I mean, that works more if you go the idea, because
the idea, chat, was that the players can't make up their minds whether or not the King in Yellow and the yellow sign is like actually supernatural
real?
or just some guy was just so obsessed with this
Cognito
fictional
virus?
universe that he made it real by using
I will say this:
post-human technology.
I've seen literal like award-winning like horror tabletop designers talk about this. Of like, you can make Carcosa literally anything. Carcosa can be like a place claimed by a counterculture group, or Carcosa can just be like the King Yellow itself can literally be a counterculture because like the play of the King Yellow is a meta commentary on making plays and trying to actually want to know what the original play was, which I think is annoying if you actually want to be actually know what the original play was.
Yeah, I mean, there are adaptations that have been written. The point of this story. Also, hey, I'll plug something that I thought was really cool, but a lot of people didn't watch. I've read the Repair of Reputations on this channel. If you search it right here, you can find it. So
It is no mask. Yes.
Yeah, I've done the whole thing, but like the point of the original stories are that you don't know what the fuck is in the play, just that the play is so weird and unusual and also revelatory that people who read it are changed, but some people who read it are not like, they don't become eldritch, they just go, oh, that was horribly offensive, we must ban every copy of this thing.
Honestly, how I look at
not
it is like it's a play that like in my weird mind of like a modern brain of it, it's meant to be a cognito has it reflects like the darkest part of you in a way that like or confronts your own senses and your own lives. So the point where you basically understand yourself in a way you hate it. So for people that actually are kind of mundane, you just are really offended. But if you like have something that's deeply wrong about you, it horribly consumes you.
That's a pretty good interpretation. I'm only like 3 bosses into Saros, but based on what I'm seeing out of the NPCs, I think the writers at Housemarque kind of agree with your interpretation. The eclipse that keeps recurring in the game setting and sets up the roguelite elements of looping forever.
In Returnal, it has a bunch of imagery about the lady dying in a car crash and other medical experiences she did wrong.
Yeah.
So,
but the perception of the NPCs seems to be that it like amplifies their flaws over and over again, and like the only person so far in the team who seems normal No offense to Rahul Kohli, Raj is not normal. He's obsessed with his. Raj gets to join the Need to Find My Wife club of weird psychological horror video games.
The problem is like the person that comes out of being like, oh, you killed her, or you fucked up your relationship, or you are just desperately afraid of being alone because you're a very unfriendly guy.
So he's part of the 4th colony team that was sent out. His wife was like the 1st or 2nd team. So there's at least months
Isaac,
of space travel. It's like Isaac guilt. Like there's something going on here that he's obsessed about going through this over and over again.
But he's not
admitting
to the player.
The most normal person is like the tech engineer of the crew, and she's just like horribly pragmatist about everything, and just like, no, Raj, you can't have hope. That's just gonna fuck you up. We gotta look at the data, the facts, the practicals.
Okay, that's basically what it is. It's because she's a fucking space engineer, she expects half everything to fucking blow up or try to kill her because it's an AI or something. It's like she's probably the person. If my coaster starts like, listen, I have a gun. I have a gun to shoot at my smart devices, kind of person. He sounds like.
Yeah, no. I keep a loaded gun by my printer in case it starts printing something I didn't tell it to, kind of shit. Yeah. You also do have a oppressive corporate AI. They didn't explicitly say that Alien was an inspiration, but also having just rewatched Alien, it's very Alien. The fucking computer's just like, all of the valuable minerals in your pocket are company property. Survivors are a secondary priority. Please continue to gather company property. And Raj is just like,
until they justify you don't keep any shit.
Primary. I'm here to save people. I'm going to use this alien teleporter even though I don't know what it does.
Is the protagonist of Sorrows remind you of Verso or like Gustav at all? Because I got that vibe like in a very minor way from that other guy.
That might just be the accent. He's a little haunted, kind of like Verso, but I don't think he's.
You finished the game, right? Yeah.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm in Act 3 though, so I get the kind of like I don't know how the ending goes, but I know the character beats.
Verso was, ever since what happened to Gustav, Verso was committed to his choice from the very beginning.
Yeah, he's kind of locked in, but it's still
even if it's nothing.
How would I say this about Raj?
Some people may be convinced there is a right answer, but like it's hard because like it's French, so like there's no like good ending.
I don't
it's
know
just
how
one that's more
exactly
correct.
how the endings work out, but I can guess from here, kind of a thing.
There's one that's more correct, but like both are valid.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah, they're probably out there, but I think there's a lot of things they're trying to say. But we'll save that for a future spoiler cast on E33. Where was I earlier with Fiendsmith? Sorry, we got a little into. I've been playing a lot of Sero, so I'm excited about it. But let's talk a little bit about
I just never got to talk about the Key and Yellow before because I'm used to where like you can be literally cognito hazard about it because that's the basis principle is just cognito hazard.
Oh no, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff there. Like I said, I won't say that playing Saros won't turn into a Delta Green run sometime later. I need to finish a few of the ideas I have.
Also have to say though, I also made the big point about how technically most Cthulhu Adventure stuff that give you sanity in the modern day does not matter because people actually have seen horror films and actually know what horror media is. So like most of those things, unless you actively try to make it illogically dangerous, like you've done Delta Green, it most times wouldn't give you that much sanity damage because people in the modern day wouldn't be like Lovecraft where they're actually afraid of things that just don't make sense, like air conditioning.
I will say this about Lovecraftian role-playing games. Some of them have to try pretty hard to make like sand loss make sense. Most stories or games kind of go with the idea.
I think most people could look at Cthulhu and not lose their mind, but they would be afraid.
They would be afraid. I mean, I think actually like looking at Cthulhu is like, I think people would be more afraid than they think they would be because actual Big C is a literal kaiju.
I just don't think their brain would start melting.
No, you probably wouldn't be reduced to a gibbering like oaf normally just from seeing him. It's there's a strong implication that Big C is passively psychic. That's why you get like bad dreams about Relia and stuff. So like it is possible that just being near him would be a cognito hazard, but that's not explicit in the text. I personally like a ruling that I've heard from some people, including Adam Scott Glancy, who was one of the original Delta Green writers and consulted on the new edition. I like the idea of not giving sand damage for seeing statues of horrible eldritch monstrosities. It's just a statue. It's not real. It's when you see a statue and then, a star spawn or a dark young or a Bayaki, like, kicks in the window of the Victorian balcony and like grabs the guy who was about to explain everything to you and kills him horribly. That's
like,
when you go, oh
I mean,
shit, it's real.
honestly, there's a rule for that where if you read a book to give you mythos knowledge, you bank the sand damage. You don't take it until you actually experience actual sand damage from an eldritch creature. And the damage you got from all the tomes you learned hit you all at once.
But there are synergies, I should say, with these decks.
Yes, sir.
So because there is a Light Fiends, there's several decks you can run this round. One of which, I know, Axe, you're a big fan of, is, hey, guess what's another Light Fiend deck that's revolves around Link monsters? It's Magical Musket.
I wish they were good.
Yeah, that's what people, like, here's the thing. Like, with a lot of,
weird, I like the thematic, but it just doesn't work with, like, how fast or the material, because, like, Magical Musket would probably get Rush, because you basically use your entire hand.
Yeah. I think that the Magical Muskets work as a decent, effort because you can.
They just need a way for
any
you to
Magical
draw multiple
Musket
cards
normal
around because
can turn into sequence, and the upcoming. It's not printed in the TCG yet, which may be why nobody's tried that. But there is the Link 2 version of Caspar coming out. That's 2 monsters, including a Light Fiend, which also is like very helpful. That would also work really well with the Fiendsmith engine. But like I said, it's a really oddball case where everybody thought you were going to do that with, they were like, oh, this Fiendsmith thing, I guess it's a new way to run Magic Muskets, but that's not what it is at all. Evil Hero can use like a supplemental engine, but that's probably not the best way to do it because a Dusted Gold is a Light Fiend. There was the idea of using the other, like, pure engine card, which is Primite. Primite is another deck that's not a deck. It's engines around normal monsters. You've seen it, obviously, in Primite Blue Eyes. But there were 2 Light Fiends that were useful. One, of course, was White Dustin, the proudest of them all. Here, let me actually just, because we've had, like, a normal image in the background for like, 30 minutes. Let me go ahead and throw White Dustin up here. The Duster, the proudest of them all. So this is a normal, light White Fiend you can summon. So you can do it with, Unexpected Die. You can do it with the Primate engine, etc. And then, guess what? They made a better one. Knowing what they were doing, the TCG and Alliance Insight came out with a level 4 normal Light Fiend, Dippity. Lives in a glass bottle, etc. You must never open the lid no matter what. Don't open the flask. Do not let this guy out of the flask.
I want to see the version that is take the thing out of the flask. Also, I just noticed the Dragonhorde Hunter story is finally ended. It's now a eternal cycle of revenge.
Yeah, it's sad, but we all knew it was going to go there. Now she's become.
I mean, it was. Listen, her end thing was I think literally her killing herself or doing that. So like, yeah.
Yeah, but now there is a big normal dragon tuner. But Dippity is a level 4 Light Fiend, so this is the card that allowed you to play the Unholy Bridge that is Fiendsmith Ryziel Primite, because it's a 4. Like I said, Fiendsmith being a deck that has very few actual locks on its attributes or extra deck summoning, and it cannot be you literally cannot play a deck of only Fiendsmith, meant that a lot of people were doing some very demented engine brews with it. You could also try like to tech in Valmonica or Live Twin because those involve, some Light Fiends and some other stuff. That wasn't a perfect matchup, but it was, like I said, people experimented a lot with these. Now, we'll grab that in a second. Let's look at the big man himself. The Engraver. And pull up our appropriate levels here. So, here is Fiendsmith Engraver. And he looks like an early 2000s protagonist. I think he is, decently
He looks like I guess the way to put it, he looks like a PS2 protagonist or a Tales of character. No offense to that, but
yeah, like I said, he's a.
It looks like he's got great. He looks like he's got like combos and mix-ups and like a whole thing.
Yeah,
and like grand art.
Like look at him. He's got, and again, this is why it's like this. at least parts of this are definitely a Devil May Cry reference. He's not actually wearing a long coat. That's, the stuff that looks like a coat's attached to his belt. But he is shirtless for no good reason. He has a really cool jacket.
His jacket can't. He can't. His jacket
tags.
couldn't cover. I'm a real man.
Yeah. I did say he is Yugified though, because arguably, Dante and Virgil have very simple hairstyles because of the PlayStation 2 era. Engraver has Yu-Gi-Oh hair with crazy forelocks and spikeage and multicolored, all that stuff. He's got cool gloves that have claws, spikes everywhere. This is 2000s as fuck. And let me see. There is a okay, no, that's for if we pull up Requiem. That's the concept art for that. So we'll do that in a second. But Mr. Fiendschmith himself. Okay, this guy is limit 1 in OCG, so that's maybe why he's up there. Also, so his name is Fiendsmith Engraver. In the OCG, it's just Demonsmith. I will say this, just purely translating, demon as fiend, that's okay already, but I will say I feel like in English, Demonsmith doesn't sound great. The Fiendsmith is that seems more like something you'd call a guy that's that is actually a double entendre, because it's
I like my Iron Warrior Demonsmith. I like my Iron Warrior Demonsmith, but that's because those guys are usually next to giant demonic tanks. Or those are Warpsmiths.
Yeah, Warsmiths, Warpsmiths, not quite the same thing, but close. And then also, Daemon Engines. Anyway,
Daemon Engines are cool, but
the engraver part is that he's Mao Kizamu, Demonsmith, the Demonsmith who engraves demons. It's a little redundant. So Fiendsmith Engraver, he engraves demons. And that's, again, he puts their true names on the dog tag contracts. You can see he's wearing a few of them. And that's kind of his shticky. If you somehow do not know what this guy does, I will elucidate for you, chat. Fiendsmith Engraver is a level 6 light fiend, 1800 attack, 2400 defense. That's another funny thing, is that the actual main deck monsters of this are not impressive stat-wise. But his effect is, you can discard this card, add a Fiendsmith spell trap from your deck to your hand. You can target one Fiendsmith equip card you control, one monster on the field, send it to the graveyard. If this card's in your graveyard, shuffle one other light fiend from your graveyard into your deck or extra deck, special summon this card. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, you discard him to search out any of your spells. If he's on the field, you can target Fiendsmith equip cards to send, basically one other card on the field to the graveyard, and then he summons himself back from the graveyard by shuffling back. So I feel like, before we even talk about the Link one, though that's also a critical part of this, I have to explain to you the Fiendsmith combo line, in order. Because I've played a little of this with some other decks. I'm not super enthused by the Fiendsmith line. Fiendsmith, basically the way it works out in your deck was that either you basically use your Fiendsmith stuff early to bait out your opponent's interaction, and then you play your actual deck's combo starters, or after your main deck combo starter is killed by your opponent's interaction, you go, fuck it, we Fiendsmith. So this is the spell trap, which is almost always search with Engraver. This is Fiendsmith's Tract. In this, you can see what the Fiendsmith does to demons, which is that he punts them into his magical sarcophagus, which eats them.
Eats them.
Yes. Om nom nom.
And probably would have I guess to say if they ever did another set of this card, it would have to be Bayonetta themed, kind of, where it's just the lady and kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
They could do a crazy bit of having like, I guess the lady could have another lady partner, but the lady demon just turns into like a giant mouth that eats things whole or something. I like something kind of weird. I don't know.
If you don't know, tract is just in Latin. It comes from a verb which means to haul, to draw out. The modern phrase of tract is, area, expanse, or a brief book. But there is also a type of Requiem Mass where you could call a section of that a tract, which is why it's Fiendsmith's tract. The OCG translated, like the Romaji, means Engraved Demon's Holy Hymn, and then they called it Demonsmith Toractus. But this is the process where which, the Fiendsmith kicks the shit out of a demon, makes him submit, throws him in the coffin, and then they are under his command. So this is a normal spell that says, add a Light Fiend monster from your deck to your hand, then discard a card. You can banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon a Fiendsmith from your extra deck using monsters in your hand or field. You can only use each effect once per turn. Which this is also why the deck is very friendly to being wombo comboed. Fiendsmith Tract adds any Light Fiend monster at the cost of discarding a card. Hey gang, we did do a Fabled episode. Fabled. Does anybody remember what Fabled Lurie does? Anybody remember Fabled Lurie? Also, it's a fusion spell. Oh, that's sick. Lurie's got an alt art? That's cool. I can pull that up on the stream if I can. But yes, anybody out there remember what Fabled Lurie does?
I don't.
Well, Fabled Lurie is really simple. Let me grab an alt art here. He is a level 1 Light Fiend. Let me make him a little bit smaller. This is the brand new alt art they've got. But Fabled Lurie is a level 1 Light Fiend who just says, if this card's discarded to the graveyard, special summon it. So what you do is you pitch Engraver from hand, add tract, activate tract, add Lurie, discard Lurie off of tract, summon Lurie. And then you have a Light Fiend, and you're like, oh, what do I need a Light Fiend for? I'm so glad you asked, chat. Because that means we get to the Coffinator himself.
I just noticed this whole thing of like, wait, to the Fabled is this one? I've heard it's like level 1 Fabled, I think.
Yeah, this is a level 1 Fabled Lurie.
I'm just sorry. I was just thinking from what of being like the mask it's carrying. Isn't that like the 8 that tried to kill Leviathan?
I think so.
I'm also noticing the thing of like all the dark coloring on like the higher level masks are all it's just like tarnish that comes off because it's like I wonder if it once the mask fully cleaned it's someone else's mask.
Maybe. I would assume that's the Elswarm virus on the masks because the Fableton is supposed to be the source of that. I'm not sure actually. There's a lot we could probably talk about, but the reason why you put Lurie on field is because of this Bingus. This is Fiendsmith's Requiem. It does have a plural, or Engraved Demon's Requiem Coffin. And his materials are super simple. They are 1 Light Fiend. He's a Link 1. I do, however, have a concept art for him also. But the description in the book is basically, it's a big-ass coffin that they feed demons with to force them to form a contract, and then when he wants to summon out the demon, he throws the dog tags in, and Requiem spits them back out. Here is Requiem's concept art. He's got a big central eyeball. He's got some weird spiky bits. It transforms, when they let the demons out. He om-nom-noms on there. There's a little art here I like of Fiendsmith's hand. It's apparently heavy to carry this thing.
It's the thing if you're probably just a deadlift it, yeah, but you could probably carry it. It's probably a thing where you can like move around with it pretty easily.
I mean, it does seem to float as seen in this art. But this is why the Lurie combo works, because Fiendsmith's Requiem is a Link 1 Light Fiend with 600 attack, who requires 1 Light Fiend monster, as you said. You can only special summon Fiendsmith Requiem once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, tribute this card, special summon a Fiendsmith from your hand or deck. You can target 1 light non-link fiend you control, equip this card from your field or graveyard to that monster as an equip spell that gives it 600 attack. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, Requiem just lets you summon another Fiendsmith from your hand or deck. It's a quick effect tribute, so it's really easy to dodge interaction by your opponent. From your graveyard or field, it can equip to a light non-link fiend to become an equip spell that gives them 600 attack. So all of that is quite stonks. And now that's the basic combo, and then depending on what you do with that, there's a few ways you can go. So let's just run down the line of the cards. Let's see. So that shows... Okay, no, that's kind of like a mid-transformation. So we'll do this one next. This is the other spell trap that people would play like a one of. Usually you cut a lot of them out of the deck, but here's one of them. This is Fiendsmith in Paradise, or Engraved Demon's Paradise. This appears to be one of the many transformations of Requiem. Fiendsmith himself is not transformed, but this is definitely one of his weapon forms, which seems to be some kind of laser crossbow. Shark mouth.
It's a giant like laser scatter weapon.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it almost makes me think of. It was like the pseudo game Something of the Damned?
Shadows of the Damned.
Yeah, I always think of Shadows of the Damned, honestly, kind of weapon.
Could see that. But yeah, so this is one of his attacks. This is a thingy he does. And this is a normal trap that says target a level 7 or higher light fiend you control. Send all cards on the field to the graveyard that are not that monster. If your opponent special summons a monster, roll this card in the graveyard, you can banish this card, send a Fiendsmith from your deck or action deck to the graveyard, you can use each effect once per turn. So, like I said, this is the other one you played. Like, if you have an Engraver in hand, but you already drew Tracked, you would play probably 1 in Paradise. Mostly just so you can send it to the graveyard. The trap effect is cool to use, like, the Fiend Fusions to, you know, like, blow up the whole board. But usually the beauty of Fiendsmith is that you don't ever get, like, locked. So you would build multi-layered boards with it. And here, I'll throw this up next. There is another relevant spell card. This one is Fiendsmith Sanct. You know, Engraved Demon's Holy Praise or Demonsmith Sanctus. These guys, according to the valuable book, are familiars. So these are your little guys. Your little gremlins.
The fodder mooks.
No, these guys work for the Fiendsmith apparently. So
okay.
these are his familiars he summons. So these are your little imps that probably do something utilitarian. And it's noted that the Fiendsmith feeds used dog tags that no longer work to them.
Okay.
This is this card's weird. It's not used a lot. I get what they're going for, but oftentimes Konami will give these kinds of small packages like a breadth of utility that they don't need. So Fiendsmith Sanct is a quick play spell card that says if you control no face-up monsters or the only face-up monster you control are light fiends, summon a Fiendsmith token. The official token artwork is just these two guys, which is a level 1 light fiend 0/0. You can't declare attacks the rest of this turn except with fiends. If a face-up fiend you control is destroyed with card effects in your graveyard, you can set it. You can only each effect once per turn. So this is useful in Fiendsmith to create an extra light fiend. It's just that, again, it turns out that there are already a whole shitload of light fiends you can play. Like, you could literally, instead of running Sanct, you could run, like, 3 copies of Unexpected Die and, like, one whatchamacallit, White Dust On, you know? Or do the same with Divinity when it got pre-released. So this basically is the equivalent of Hornet Drones for Sky Striker. They're like, oh shit, this is a main deck that only has, like, 2 monster names. What do we do if they need to summon their Link monsters that require light fiends? We'll give them a token-generating card. Like I said, it turns out you don't need that because they are so generic. Like, Striker needs Hornet Drones because you need Sky Striker monsters to make their links work. Fiendsmith does not have that problem, so you do not need a token summoner. You can just play other light fiends. But they are notable little guys. And then probably, yeah, let's talk about the other main deck monster that they added a little later. We'll talk about Lacrima. And I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I'm reasonably certain she's gonna be censored. So we'll show you the uncensored art. Which is not, like, too crazy, but it's definitely, like, also a, like, you know, PS2 or later era fan service design. The censored art just extends her leotard, you know, to cover up the absolute cleavage.
I think her side reminded me of, like, a certain, like, Hololive girl, or, like, I think other VTuber girl. It makes me think of a certain design, like, very specifically, but I can't place it anymore. But, like,
definitely,
she's just like,
could be.
She's like a, I guess, like a, how to put it. She's a demon buck succubus because it's like she's got like a weird mix of being like arcane cyber mixed to being.
I mean,
like,
you know, the implication
creature.
is that the demons have, you know, invaded and destroyed the world, probably. So, yeah, she looks like she's chilling in a normal room in the apocalypse. This is I mean, there are, like, saying this reminds you of a VTuber, but you can't put your finger on it. That's fair. There's a lot of.
She's also got a thing of like under her right eye. She's got like the bloody tear mark.
Yes, she's got the bloody tear mark. You can see that her weapon is made of a crimson liquid, so it appears that she literally cries bloody tears. It's her Castlevania here, and then turns it into attacks. You know, but she's got a tail. She's got little boots on. I assume they're high heels, but you can't actually see her heels.
She's got some eyes on her, like
garter
eye
belt for
things.
no reason. Yeah, she's got some glow. She's got some lights and some glowing orbs. The eye, actually, I think those are supposed to be teardrop shaped, which would make sense.
It might be containers of her tears. Just keeps them.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't cry all the time.
She has them like on her knuckles. Like it's a good design. It's a little generic, but I think that is the point. You know, they're like, hey, we're trying to invoke a very specific vibe without invoking anything which would get us in trouble in copyright. I will, however, say that as we are wont to do, I think that the wiki is kind of smoking crack because they're like, this monster may be based on Trish from DMC, and I'm kind of like, only very loosely.
Conceptually, yes, but like I think it's also just like
as
the
like a
archetype
character role, maybe. Though again, that's with Trish and Dante's relationship is a lot weirder because it's very weird.
Yeah.
Lacrima and Engraver's relationship is much more explicitly. She thinks when he's yapping about a contract, they're talking about a marriage contract, and then at the end he's like, "Okay, babe, let's get hitched. I'm Engraver. This is probably not what my voice is like." Maybe I don't think I can do be gruff and a higher register at the same time. Because I gotta be careful that I'm just not, doing like this party's getting crazy.
I mean, he's that vibe, but that's fair.
Like it's harder to do a semi-serious read. I do think Engraver's like you've seen that smirk he's got on. He's supposed to be doing that. But yeah, Lacrima's design like I think harkens to like a lot of things. Like yeah, she kind of looks like a VTuber because that's just kind of like these days building a VTuber avatar is like what are some cool character traits you like? Just pick off the smorgasbord list. But she's got horns, she's got super pointy ears, she's got the crimson underlay to her hair. Once again, kind of like Engraver, this is like very PS2 era core, but also wouldn't actually work in the PS2 because like all those extra details and lights in her design and like all those extra lines is definitely like too many polygons. But it's something. But I think it's like you see her and you're definitely like, yes, Demon Woman, got it. Her name is Lacrima of Crimson Tears. Obviously, Lacrima is Latin for tears. Her name is probably most supposed to be coming from Lacrimosa, which is the that's the Lacrimosa. It's the funerary part of the Dies Irae poem from Requiem Mass. So, like, Fiends with Requiem's named after the Requiem. She's named after a part of the Requiem. It's a whole thing, This archetype is one of those cases where, as usual with kind of, like, Japanese occultism, it's like everything is super Catholic named. Honestly, kind of surprised there's, like, not, like, secretly a Mozart reference in here anywhere. But Lacrima of Crimson Tears is a light fiend for 12/12. This card is always treated as a Fiendsmith card. Great way to keep her name. Because I should also say, her name in the OCG is just purely Lacrimosa of Crimson Tears. But again, Lacrima works. If this card's normal or special summon, send a Fiendsmith card from your deck to graveyard, except Lacrima of Crimson Tears. During your opponent's turn, if this card's in your graveyard, you can target a Fiendsmith Link monster in your graveyard, shuffle this card into the deck, special summon that monster. You can use each effect once per turn. So, Lacrima was in their second wave, but she just gives you another main deck guy to summon off of Requiem and other similar cards. Sorry, I was distracted by General. They're talking about Snow and May. Just like we were talking about earlier. Sorry, I was possessed of a thought to be like, y'all should be in Fail Portrayal right now. That's true anyway, but no, I won't distract myself. But yeah, Lacrima gives you an extra target to summon, and her effect is basically, if you didn't have Engraver in your opener, and don't have him in rotation, you can normal or special summon Lacrima to put him in rotation. Usually these days what you do is, remember how I talked about the combo line of going to Requiem? Nowadays, you usually tribute Requiem to get Lacrima, who puts another card, whether that's a spell card or a monster card, into your graveyard, and then you can start shuffling, fusing, whatever, and keep extending. This is a card I referenced earlier. This is kind of showing the scene where, like, we're trying to make him look like a cool guy. But this is the card named Fiendsmith Kyrie.
Oh, yeah, it's the bond, yeah.
Yeah. Engraved Demon's Mercy Song. Okay. Yes, I was like, I knew this was in. So, the Kyrie Eleison, also it's, the word Kyrie is it's from the Greek actually, not the Latin, but it's the name of a specific prayer in Christian liturgy. So, the character Kyrie is probably named that for that reason in Devil May Cry, and also it works, as a a good name in this because it's a reference as well because the liturgy is supposed to mean Lord have mercy in Latin, and it's used in Mozart's Requiem Symphony, like his movement. One of them is named the Kyrie eleison. So it's like all loose back together, baby. Also, I think specifically the Japanese like the name Kyrie because it's spelled with a Y in Greek, but it would be pronounced Kyrie because it is Greek originally. So you just turn the Y into another I, and then you have a loan word that makes sense in Japanese. Anyway, this is the uncensored version of the art because she has her boob window.
This is another thing where I feel like it'd be fun if it was like actually like a game.
Yeah, I was thinking that like this so looks like an action game. I guess there are a lot of games that like Konami could make from their Yu-Gi-Oh like ideas, which would be very interesting.
There's at least like 3 to 4 dungeon crawlers they could make.
Yeah, that one I think it would be a lot easier for them to build.
Sky Striker would be like a weird Ace Combat style game. Ace Combat game.
I mean, honestly, actually, what you should do is you should do a Sky Striker that's a Zone of the Enders like. That'd be really easy.
Yeah, but I guess in Mexico it's just people power suits and then robots. Yeah, that works.
You basically free fly around. You smack or shoot things, and then you transform into one of your.
And have very weird and have very high effort cutscenes.
Yeah, but designing a runic dungeon crawler game would be so easy because it would be a first person dungeon crawler. You don't have to actually make it an immersive sim.
No, I was talking about like a not even runic. I was thinking about like Dark World, like the old like Dark World creatures and shit like that, like the old Link that's made from 2 normals and shit.
Oh yeah, no, like there are probably some other stuff like that too, but like
you can make a wizard like with that shit.
I think there's room you could do with that. I can understand why they wouldn't do Fiendsmith because I kind of think that character action is one of those genres that's like. I mean, I joked about making. It's got to be. Sky Striker
you'd have to get some Capcom people or fucking Platinum.
You'd have to spend. You'd have to hire the right
talent, to do it,
or you would have to do like.
And they'd run out of money to wait. But like most Clover things, they run out of money 2/3 through the game process. So.
Like it's
also
possible to do, but
they run out of money midway through.
You have to be careful because it is a genre that's like. People are very particular about the feeling of those games, and you would need to either find, like we said, find the right talent or the right partners to work with. And obviously, the new Konami is not afraid of working with partners. They've got the Dead Cell guys working on a brand new Castlevania that's going to come out this fucking year with a female Belmont. Like we're talking like Konami is making huge leaps and bounds as far as.
I mean, they did have Order of Ecclesia, but like I have not actually seen that game played. So
that one was like, it was a weird side case, and also I don't actually. Was that canonically with a female Belmont?
I forget.
Well,
but
they might also
like...
have retconned it. There have been female lead characters in Castlevanias before. It's just that like. Usually it's not an explicit female Belmont, and the like 1 or 2 cases where they did do it were like side games that the main Castlevania team didn't oversee, and so they were always like, well, they might be canon or they might not. So this is like Konami's just like, no, fuck you. This is Trevor Belmont and Cypher Bernarde's daughter. She is official. That probably means we're going to do some wizard
those
shit.
characters. Those characters existed in the lore too originally, so like.
Well, yeah. Listen,
because the anime made them characters.
Yes, no, it was much more striking. That said, it still gets me to the joke with the new character. I'm just like those Belnada's genes really took over because she doesn't look that much like Trevor at all. Anyway, you need particular people involved to work with these games, and so I can understand why Konami would not just make the Fiendsmith, Smash game. I appreciate the effort they're doing with their anime releases. Even those are kind of like, they're clearly trying not to blow their whole monthly budget or their whole yearly budget in 1 month, because those shorts are kind of short. And some of them look good, some of them don't. I remember there were some parts of the SP Little Night IP Masquerena special they put in Master Duel that I was kind of like, I don't know if it's just because I'm trying to, live play this video through Master Duel, which is not a client that has the best network stability on a good day. And now I'm trying to stream a video from it. As opposed to, I'm sure the smart thing would be for me to download the fucking video files, but I know Konami didn't do that. But there were parts of it that I was like, oh, this looks a little choppy or a little simplistic. Every animation project is going to have those moments, right? You save time and effort and money on one part of the project and save it up for a later bit. But yeah, that said, if they could do a Fiendsmith game, it would probably be pretty cool. Though, once again, we do have an archetype where we barely see the quote-unquote enemies that the Fiendsmith is supposed to fight. Like, this is supposed to be either right before or right after he fights Mephistopheles, the big bad. No card for that guy, no representation for that guy at all. Like, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetypes are so weird in that they are, like, purely show you the protagonists of a story, and I guess, like, whatever your deck is fighting is supposed to be that way. We've talked about this before with
it's because they usually
kind of the same way.
It's because they usually want to do, if they have, like, usually do, like, in a faction's enemy, they usually make it its own archetype, or they make it where it has, like, a special thing that qualifies that as being the enemy character. So it usually spawns on the other side of your field, kind of thing, of being like it's the enemy you fight.
They do those things, and like there are plenty of big lores where characters are supposed to be in conflict. The problem is that they usually save that for their larger lore dumps. Like, obviously, all throughout the Abyss storyline with Albaz, there were guys who were enemies, not enemies, in between, kind of a thing. The designers cooked too hard because Kashtira are the big bads of the Visa Starfrost archetype, and so they play like a villain archetype. Shit like that. Like, they do it for their bigger cycles, but for smaller cycles, like for Fiendsmith or Exorcisters.
Listen, I'm strip mining your board, and then I'm putting it in jail if you resist.
All of your zones, I have put them in subspace containers. What does this have to do with my emotion being rage? I don't know, man. I'm red and angry.
I hate everything, so I'm gonna use it for my own war machine.
I wonder if they like changed their ideas halfway through because Scareclaw wasn't that impressive. Because like Scareclaw was originally like a not necessarily villain but like an antagonist archetype. And they look kind of scary.
Like, how do I put this? They do like the whole like fucking Fantasian / like Final Fantasy VI thing where like, depending on people's looks at it, like it's only by the end of the game does the plot really start, kind of thing. Like I think I talked about, we covered the art of being like he has all the 3 party members now, but then the plot basically starts all over because we're now in a cycle because it's a samsara.
Yeah, it is a samsara
which
thing.
Like it's not a conclusion at all.
The plot literally his Visas' either actual enemy or his real inner darkness like resets the universe and starts over. So I don't know what his dealio is. Anyway, Fiendsmith Kyrie is another normal trap that says its primary effect is this turn your light fiends can't be destroyed by battle. Any battle damage you take is halved. More importantly, you can banish this card from your graveyard to fusion summon a Fiendsmith fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control and or monsters in your spell trap zones equipped to a Fiendsmith as an equipped spell as material. You can use this effect once per turn. Again, this is another one you usually send to the graveyard. The 2 trap cards have interesting effects, but most of the time you don't bother waiting to see about like making your light fiends battle protected. You just hope to set up a killer board state before that. The fusion summon by fusioning monsters you control or monsters in your spell trap zones is the critical part there. So let us then run through the sequence. So they got another Link monster. Pretty sick guy back in the day. Fiendsmith sequence. This involves the art of the transforming Requiem and the two little Sanct minions. And there's an extra guy coming out.
Is that Mephistopheles, or is that the like Despair from the Dark?
People point out it looks like Despair from the Dark. I think this is supposed to be a generic demon. So, Fiendsmith's sequence, the OCG name is Sequentia, which is it is the actual words, the lyrics, the chant or hymn which accompany the Requiem music. The phrase in Japanese is, engraved demon's great sacred coffin. So this is kind of like sequences or Requiem's transformation mode where he emerges with a scary guy. And you can see the Sanctus tokens. So I believe this is a just generic demon that Engraver has captured, and it happens to resemble Despair from the Dark, who is, I believe, originally a fiend monster. Though one of those guys is a zombie. This is a Link 2 that has the arrows. That requires 2 monsters, including a light fiend. During your main phase, you can fusion summon a fiend fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling its materials from your graveyard into the deck. Then also, you can target a light non-Link fiend you control. Equip this card from your field or graveyard to it as an equipped so displaying effect. Your opponent can't target the equipped monster with card effects. You can use each effect once per turn. So, who needs Verte? We have our own Link 2 that fusions. And doesn't even use a spell. But yes, I believe the idea is, yes, it says Demon Summoning Form Sequence. So the sequence mode is the mode where Requiem forcibly summons out the demons and they can possess Engraver so he can assume his battle forms, which are very, I want to say very, like Devil Trigger coded. So let us start looking at those fusion forms, because I think we've looked at all. I think there's only 4 spell traps. So it's the quick play, the normal spell, and the 2 traps. Yeah, I think that's about right. Like I said, this is very lean. So our first fusion monster is Fiendsmith's Lacrima. So this is Demon Smith Lacrimosa, so Fiendsmith Lacrimosa originally. You can see now that this card's blown up all the way that you can see Lacrima's ghost kind of hanging out with him.
Yeah, his eyes are also white, so like, it's possessing him, and he's kind of like powering through it.
And this is, in addition to In Paradise, this is not quite the same thing as the In Paradise thing, I think, though it could be, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, because basically he has the thing, and it's basically channeling the eye.
He's transformed into a Gatling gun that he's going to fire the tears out of, which is why the eyeball...
Yeah, so it channels in... Yeah, what is what the eye is, like, super, like, fucked up.
I think the eyeball is a little fucked up anyway, but yeah, it's got the tears, you can see there. This card was banned for a little bit, but only in the TCG, and it's absolutely just because of the time rules. This is a light, level 6 Fiend Fusion, 24/24. 2 light Fiend monsters as materials. Monsters your opponent controls lose 600 attack, and you can only use the following effects once per turn. If this card's fusion summoned, target a light fiend that's banished or in your graveyard, add it back to your hand, or special summon it, just fuck you, do whatever you want with it. If this card's sent to the graveyard, shuffle 1 other light fiend from your graveyard into your deck or extra deck, inflict 12 to your opponent. So this is the card that allowed you to just basically always win on time using the old time rules. You would make Lacrima as your fusion off of sequence, and then it was very easy to send to graveyard to either link away into something else, or to fusion summon into something else, or to put under a rank 6 and then detach, and then you get to shuffle back a guy, reload them into your deck or extra deck, and then burn for 12. Since the time rules changed, it's basically done nothing. It's 0 points in Genesis. It's been unlimited in the OCG. It's still limit 1 in the TCG, but probably whenever we do get our next ban list, which we should be in a season for some time. I didn't mention it earlier, but I've talked before. The Yu-Gi-Oh format's in a pretty like okay place. We are in the sequence of the reprint cycle where people are starting to bitch and moan about the price of Yu-Gi-Oh a little. There are two really good Kuel Tune cards that just came out, which are like both secret rares, so they are super expensive because of price gouging. Rotary and Q are very good cards. There are also some complaints about their effects. The reason why Q and Rotary are good is because Rotary lets you look at your opponent's hand. You can't do anything with it, but you get to look at their hand. And Q looks at the top two cards of your opponent's deck, banishes one of them, and either puts the other on top of the deck or on the bottom of the deck. I want to say this. I think these effects are both very powerful, but I will say that I think having... It's the usual thing in a vacuum, right, where people play cards against you, and you're like, oh, man, that's no fun, getting the top two cards of my deck searched and banished. So right now, Q doesn't have a requisite synchro form. Like, she isn't specifically name-checked by a synchro monster. And neither is Rotary. Rotary is a 1, Q is a 3. So obviously, if you... have both Q and Rotary in your hand, you can sync them into the 4, and then you get both of the effects. Depending on what other cool tunes you have in your hand, it can be actually tough to synchro them off. With Q, you need either the 1 Rotary or you need another 2 to make one of the cards. And honestly, like, Crackle randomly rips 1 card from your extra deck, though it is banished face up, so like it's possibly recyclable. And then the other 2 pops an opponent's monster when used as synchro material, and Rotary is a 1, so like if you want the only thing you can make with Rotary is either turn your 5s into a 6, or with the 3s make the 4. You cannot make either of the 5s with her unless you also have another level 1 tuner to use, like an Effect Veiler or something, right? So like it's one of those cases where people complain a little about like this, oh, you get extra knowledge, and it's like, yeah, you get extra knowledge, but your opponent may have to play suboptimally in order to get that knowledge. So that's the kind of thing where, like, we'll shake out on the ban list. We'll see, like, if they limit or semi-limit, like, Rotaries and Qs and stuff like that. The price point, I think, is just one of those things where, like, people always bitch and moan whenever there is, like, a chase secret that is, like, a must-have for a deck that's probably going to be a top contender deck. People have been doing that since, like, late GX, early 5Ds era. Or, God forbid, when the fuck was the Crush card promo actually printed? Expensive as hell card. But, yeah. Anyway, that was an aside because we can afford to do those because we are... How are we in? Oops, I closed a tab. I hope that wasn't a tab I needed. I'm trying to find my fucking live streaming tab. Yeah, like an hour 20. It'll be a short episode today, gang, because I don't really have any back filler. And Dallas didn't show up, so I can't get bogged down on a JoJo tangent for 30 minutes.
We talked about Carcosa, but I feel like that was kind of relevant in a weird way.
It wasn't directly relevant, but that's okay. Part of the fun is when we do asides. I hope it's part of the fun.
I hope it's fun.
Tell me in the comments if you think it's fun. Or tell me in the comments if you don't think it's fun. Leave a comment. Nothing will change if you don't leave a comment. Without your input, I have no reason to change any of my behaviors. Shit, that was an important tab. Actually, no, I don't think it was. It was Lacrima's tab that I don't think we actually need anymore because we talked about him. But yeah, basically that was to say that Lacrima will probably be unlimited in the TCG next ban list whenever that is. And it probably will be soonish. Genesis did have a points adjustment, which is to adjust for Cool Tune, which I think is neat. I know some people complain that Genesis is just TCG2 because some of the same decks are like the same archetypes are played, but they are like genuinely different deck lists. So we'll see how it goes. So that was what Lacrima does. You've also probably seen this next fusion card a lot. Because this was the other big fusion out of their wave, which is Fiendsmith Desiree. This is just they took the space out of Fiendsmith Dies Irae. Like they just it's. I mean, they also removed an I, but basically it's Demonsmith Dies Irae in Japanese. They made it Desiree, which like works.
They gave him a tail that has like the Cyber Mantis or like the Robo Mantis bits to it. And he has like then his main thing turns into like, I guess it's like the Inks of his
No,
Imps,
I don't think
got,
that's
like,
he
it's
has
like,
a tail.
It's got like
tail,
the
but he also
it's like an
has-
axe.
It's a chain axe. It's literally a chain axe.
Yeah.
It's also made from Requiem, clearly, because it's got its eyeball in it. And he has two chainsaw blade, like, arms, mantis arms. He does also have a weird scale tail, and I don't know why. But, you know, it's kind of sort of doing a Devil Trigger thing. It's not quite the same because we can see from other cards that Engraver does have multiple forms. But this is the guy they made into a mate in Master Duel. And when you go in your extra deck, he transforms into Desiree. I'm gonna. By the way, actually, if anybody wants to comment, nobody has in the live chat asked about it. But if you were going to ask about, why does the, why do they change the names? I assume it's because the usual thing of like in Japan, casually referencing Christianity as a weird occult thing is pretty normal. Like, you don't necessarily see anything wrong, or the Japanese, general public doesn't see anything wrong with using, Latin religious terms to refer to occult and demonic things, even though the actual Catholic Church's policies are kind of like, they're very, very strict on what you may or may not call demonic activity in actuality. Like, they are... In reality, the Catholic Church is not a spooky occult organization, like, at all. As much as fiction would
they're very
still
strict
want you to
about.
believe.
They're very strict. Actually, it used to be a more common thing, but they may be very strict about what qualifies for that or not.
Well, it's because people got people associate the witch hunts with the Catholic Church, but that's only early associated with the Catholic Church, and it's got a lot more to do with Protestantism and like the Reconquista in Spain and stuff, like the Spanish Inquisition. And the actual Catholic Church was like, wait a minute, you guys are taking this too far. This shit's crazy. You're being disorderly. You're really fucking this up. Cut it out. Which it's a completely separate thing, but I understand why. Like, in America, we have this kind of, like, puritanical witch hunter thing because that is actually part of American history. But it's interesting that, as usual, American writers often don't bother to actually, like, look back and research any of the origin point there, and they're just like, yeah, no, witch hunts, that's a thing to do, right? We can put those anywhere. Anyone can do a witch hunt. That's just a normal thing, right? No. It's very not normal. But the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is very careful about using these terms because we don't want to create the third great satanic panic. Or technically like the fourth or fifth, actually, but you know what I mean, chat. Like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG was coming out in America in kind of like the late wave Pokemon is demonic zone. And so, that's where we get a lot of, like, instead of demon, it's fiend, etc. And they've kind of kept to that. That's something that I can't say in our current socio-political climate they are wrong to do. Again, not because I think the Catholic Church would mind, but because some people who are willing to argue with the Pope on Twitter, which by de facto, by the way, you can't do that. He is the Pope. You can't say, I'm a Catholic, but Mr. Pope, you're talking shit. That's not how that works. Those kinds of people could be upset by some of these things if they bothered to notice what the fuck a Yu-Gi-Oh card is. So, like I said, I don't throw any stones at the TCG for continuing to change some of the names. I gotta be honest, also, saying Fiendsmith's Dies Irae might be a little weird. Fiendsmith's Desiree is, like, a little weird. Anyway, this is a level 9 Fiend Fusion. 2800 attack, 2400 defense. This is a 3-mat. It requires Engraver and 2 Light Fiends. And some people made some Potential Man jokes about this guy. I don't know why. This is actually a pretty good card. It has a quick effect that you can negate the effects of a number of face-up cards on the field up to the total Link rating of Link monsters equipped to this card until the end of this turn. So because that's a quick effect, this is basically super imperm. And depending on what materials you shuffled back, it's probably a Link 2, but could just be a Link 1. And then if this card's sent to the graveyard, shuffle a Light Fiend from your deck, from your graveyard into your deck or extra deck. Target a card in the field, send it to graveyard. So it has a revenge floating effect. You get rid of it, your opponent can send a card to graveyard. So it's tough to get rid of. So it's Desiree is a pretty cool guy who is still like usually one of the ones you climb into. We did get another Super Fusion form. Actually, should we do the Link 3 first? We should probably do the Link 3 first. Kind of bouncing back and forth, chat. But this is supposed to be Fiendsmith Agnum Day. I don't know if Agnum Day really means anything. The OCG name of this is Fiendsmith Agnus Day, which is a phrase which means the Lamb of God, so it's part of a prayer. So again, I see why they did decide to change that one around.
I appreciate this one's just a big ass fucking summon because it's huge. It makes me think of Bayonetta and like her like big finishers for bosses.
This is the combat mode of Requiem itself, where it becomes a demon. It's according to the you can see Requiem's eyeball in the center there, but according to the valuable book, this form it says the raging appearance is truly that of the devil itself. So this could be the great Satan. This, though, looks like either a super attack you do or is, like, your combo finisher, like you said, Bayonetta style, where, like, you summon a big guy. Maybe this is the QTE boss killer, cutscene.
For sure.
But, yeah, so this is... Requiem himself becomes a giant demon, and he's absolutely flattening the shit out of one of the generic demons. Just absolutely crushing that guy. But I like this design. This is your Link 3. Agnum Day was a later add. It's not as popular because extra deck space is pretty tight. But it is a Link 3 with 1800 attack. It requires 2+ monsters, including a Light Fiend, so you can Link climb into it. Once per turn, quick effect, target a Light non-Link Fiend in your graveyard, special summon it. If you do equip this card to that monster, it equips spell with the following effects. 1. The equipped monster gains attack equal to the total Link rating of Link monsters equipped to it times 600. 2, if the equipped monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing. So, Agnum Day looks really cool, but is genuinely not that necessary for the archetype. Like, yes, I get what they're going for. Agnum Day means that if you have a shitload of Link material, it turns your big boss guys into a finisher easier because it gives them at least 1800 attack. Again, this is a Link 3. It's equipped, so it gains at least 18. And does give them piercing, so, like, it's a good way to push for game. You don't need to make a Link 3 to do all that. Like, you can just... Again, because there are no locks in this deck, you can just be out here, like, previously you could have been making Barone. There were, like, you could be making Azamina or White Forest cards. That was a whole, like, Fiendsmith Azamina was like a build. That was a brew that I tried out a lot. I found usually White Forest Azamina a little more fun to play, but, like, that was, like, one of the big first brews.
I mean, that was the design intention, so...
Yeah, you can mix and match a lot of stuff, so you don't really need Agnum Day. It's a cool card, but it's definitely one of those cards that's, like, Konami definitely designed this. Like, they designed both waves of Fiendsmith, like, in a lab before they got released. So this was clearly released before the cards actually got into the... Or was designed before the cards got into the wild, and, like, they realized that players just didn't need to play it.
Yeah.
So, it's... Like I said, it's okay, and, like, maybe if you were going to go for some of the less popular brews, you might try it. Like, you might mix it up with, like, another deck that's all light fiends like Magical Muskets, because then you could, you could use this to recover a Magical Musket from grave, though you'd have to waste a Spell Trap slot with an equip. But their other big fusion is kind of the climax we've mentioned before. This is Fiendsmith's Rex Tremende. They just took the space out. Hey, you can probably guess what Rex Tremende means, but it means Tremendous King. It's a line from Dies Irae by Mozart's Requiem.
So it's okay. So basically, all Lacrobatus gives them all the different gun forms.
Yeah. So this is.
It feels like there's everything mixed in there, though.
Well, this is supposed to be when he uses like 100% of her power. His appearance looks like hers. Yeah. He's got long blonde hair.
I guess when they had to do the proper sync. I guess the other things board was like that was the first attempt, which is why it kind of looks kind of crude.
Probably, yeah. That's the first time he called on Lacrima's power before he realized that he needed to, give words of affection. So this is now like full powered. He's got her power in a vaguely spear-shaped sniper rifle. He's looking, a lot closer to her.
I gotta go.
How can you say you're in love if you won't let your demon girlfriend possess you and turn you into some sort of anime twink?
Listen.
Other weird shit I can say because...
A healthy relationship is where you let each other inside each other. And that's the bit.
We have fun here.
She can't spiritually peg you. You can't fuck her.
Oh, wow. You can...
All right.
We're in the weeds, truly.
I mean,
I don't care. People say wilder shit on stream, so like,
it's
no.
Not, I'm saying it's not wrong.
No.
It's a joke, but like, hey.
This is your bigger Batterer fusion. This is your other 9. It's 3K 3600, 1 Fiendsmith fusion monster, 1 fusion or link monster, period. So it is a super poly target, but also you can make it with lots of other generic shit you're doing. While you're equipped with the Fiendsmith equip spell, this card is unaffected by card effects except Fiendsmiths. So it is a Towers, but only if it's equipped, so you need a little bit of setup. You use each following effects once per turn. If this card's fusion summoned, discard a card, send a light fiend from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. If this card's sent to the graveyard, you can target one other Fiendsmith in your graveyard or banishment, add it back to your hand. So now that you kind of see the whole package, chat, you can see what the ideal is, right? Basically, you start at Engraver, normal mode. He, summons forth his various tools. Either, summons out one of the many demons he has a contract on, or, uses his powers like his familiars, the Sancts or the Tracts, to get Requiem. Requiem conjures out another guy, usually summons forth Lacrima, etc., sets up so that you can fuse into one of your fusion forms. Lacrima, Desiree, Rex Tremende. Which some people pronounce wrong, by the way. I think I've heard some people say Rexumtrude or something before. No, it's Rex Tremende. It's just they took out the space, so it's Rex Tremende. And then almost all of the demonic forms have the ability to, like, shuffle back a light fiend in the graveyard. So basically what they do is after you defeat the Fiendsmith in his transformed state, he goes back to normal and comes back again. You can't just kill him, you gotta, defeat him in both modes, otherwise he comes back. And this is a card that's like, it's cool. It's a little trickier to make because you have the requirements, you gotta go through a lot of your generic combos. I like it. I like the design and the thematics, but also I like it. It's a decent card to do. It's just one of those things where, like, because it requires 2 extra deck monsters to make, you gotta go through a whole shaboingery to get here. But if you did do that, it would be pretty sick. And then this says the The description in the value book is the evolved form obtained by forming a proper contract with Lacrima. Her tears have become bullets that pierce enemies that stand in your way. So you know. Big, scary shoot mode. I want to talk about, though, some generic honorable mention cards. Nope. Sorry, I just double-checked. Axe is completely gone from the call. He either had to go for timing, lost track of time, or the snow got him. That's, judging by the fact that we were making, as some might say, crass jokes. Which, like I said, in case I'm not recriminating, by the way, anybody watching the archive at home. I follow VTubers, okay? They're a lot more crude in clips. But I do got some honorable mentions to hit up to talk about a few things. Because there was, again, because this deck never locks you. Notice how I read out the entire Fiendsmith line. At no point are you locked to anything, just they usually use Light Fiends as their material. So, here's the problem card. This is the problem. This is the card that is the problem, chat. How do I know she's the problem? Well, this is the card that's banned everywhere. And not legal in Genesis, because you can't play Links. Like, this is it. This is the problem one. This is, you've probably heard of her, but this is Moon of the Closed Heaven. This card was like a promo. Yeah, she was in V-Jump. So it's like, this is supposed to be like a cute tie-in to, sorry, I just got fucking jump scared. I'll explain that in a second. This is Moon of the Closed Heaven. Right? This is probably the junior form or the sub-form of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, a.k.a. Yu-Gi-Oh! Aresh. Saros Eresh Kunigas, the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. They just literally translated the Underworld Goddess part and skipped the Mesopotamian names. This card's name is Saros Nana. Saros equal Nana. The Moon of the Closed Heaven. So, Nana, with two N's, could also be Geshti Nana, is a minor goddess who's supposed to be the sister of everybody's favorite sheep boy, Doomzuid, a.k.a. Tammuz. But also is very similar to Inanna. And Inanna is Ishtar, the Queen of Heaven. So, this is either the junior form, or this is the opposite form of the Underworld Goddess. And the reason why I was jump scared is because I was like, oh, I didn't check. Like, I was going to look it up later, but I didn't check what a Saros is. A.k.a. the name of that video game I was talking about earlier. If you didn't know, Saros is a length of time of months in astronomy, which synchronizes the... it's a synchronization of the lunar month, like the various forms of lunar month, and solar months, which means that it predicts eclipses. Interesting. Sun, moon, eclipse, etc. Wild, wacky. Anyway. Excuse me. If you... Actually, I was going to say, if you don't know what this card does, nobody fucking knows what this card does. That's not what you summon her. What this card's supposed to do is supposed to support Aresh, the Link 5 that can use one of your opponent's monsters as material. the used to be one of the extra deck heroes, but usually due to space these days, she's cut. Moon of the Closed Heaven is a Link 2 with 2 forward-facing arrows, which you think would be useless, which is 1200 attack, Link 2, just to affect monsters. Her ability is supposed to be that you can target a monster your opponent controls this card's points to, and then it allows you to use a face-up monster your opponent controls using that monster as material for a Link 5. So it's supposed to make summoning Eresh easier by adding extra materials for it. Nobody ever used it for that. This card is a Light Fiend that just takes 2 effect monsters. This means that literally any deck that could put 2 guys on board and make Moon of Closed Heaven, which can then be made into Requiem, which then means you can begin to Fiendsmith combo. That's why this card is now banned in the OCG and TCG. I think it's banned in Master Duel. If it's not banned in Master Duel, it's like Limit 1, and everybody else's Limit 1, weird Master Duel rules, limits, etc. So, it's a card that, like, the classic Yu-Gi-Oh card that's like, it's a problem, but it's not a problem for what it does, but just for who it is. But also that means that this card probably has to go and stay gone forever because of this synergy. It's a super generic Link that lets you turn any 2 monsters, regardless of their typing, into a Light Fiend for you to do Fiendsmith combos. This means that you could play that Fiendsmith bridge, which normally requires Light Fiends, with literally anything. Ryziel, put 2 4s on board. Oh, what are they gonna do? Block my rank 4 combos? My opponent flips D-Barrier and calls Xyz. Who cares? Moon of Closed Heaven, you're dead. I'm gonna do fusions from now on. Any other bullshit like that. Like, this is such a this card is such an easy bridge that it's, like, barely even funny, like, what it does or represents. So it just, like, absolutely means that any fucking guy can become, the people you're looking for, and that's just, like, super problematic. It makes that the bridge between multiple decks, like, utterly, what's the phrase, like, non-existent gaps. So yeah, this was a problem card, and I think it can't ever come back because it is still probably a problem card. But she was basically, until she was banned, Closed Heaven was glued to every single Fiendsmith deck because, again, it just effortlessly makes your bridge work. It's Verte Anaconda, but worse. So let's talk about a couple of those other generic fusions and, probably get on out of here around the 2-hour mark. First, one of the infamous TCG exclusive Binguses. This is Aerial Eater. If you do not know, this is a retrain of an OG guy, an old schooler. A guy who don't even think he came out in TCG. This is one of the classic bullshitters. Yeah, this guy's from Volume 6. He's never been printed in the TCG, which makes it all the funnier that this was a world premiere card. But here's the OG art. Here's the new guy. So the OG is Air Eater, a level 6 Wind Fiend with 2100 attack and 1600 defense. It says that it's a monster that feeds on oxygen, suffocating any who stand near. Its name is literally Ea Ita. Aerial Eater is a card they added in the Infinite Forbidden. So it was a TCG exclusive they added to coincide with the release of Fiendsmith to give them another guy to summon. Aerial Eater is a level 6 Wind Fiend fusion, 2100 attack, 2600 defense, who just has 2 Fiend monsters with the same attribute. So, I don't know, 2 Light Fiends. If this card's fusion summoned, Foolish Burial of Fiend. If this card's in your graveyard, banish 2 level 6 or higher fiends with the same attribute from your graveyard. Except Aerial Eater, special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this was just an extra fusion guy you could make to get another 6 into rotation, and it let you bin a guy to graveyard. I think since Lacrima of Crimson Tears came out, you don't need Aerial Eater anymore. And it saves, extra deck space that way. But it is still like a card that was part of the cycle that was pretty important. Next up, this guy came from Mesa Damaster. And technically, this guy's not a retrain. This is actually a card that was in the anime, but didn't get a card for the longest time, probably because it was a later card that probably could have used it. So the OG version of this card, the Duke of Demise, looks like this. This was kind of like how he was supposed to look like as an anime card. This is so it's not a retrain of Earl of Demise. This was in the anime the upgraded fusion form of Earl of Demise, which fused some guys. Specifically, he's supposed to fuse with Headless Knight, I think. His name in Japanese is just Ghost Duke. He looks pretty cool, but this is a card again that this was released in Animation Chronicle and then came out later in Maze of the Master. So like it's not directly Fiendsmith related, but it's another 6 that kind of works together. Level 6 Dark Fiend Fusion, 2k attack, 1700 defense. You really want a lot of, especially while Lacrima was Fiendsmith's Lacrima, I should say, was banned in the TCG. You really wanted a lot of 6s to make. So this is just 2 fiends and or zombies. And it says, once during your standby phase, you got to pay 5 or destroy this card. It can't be destroyed by battle. You use the following effects per turn. In your main phase, normal summon a monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target level 4 or higher fiend or zombie, add it to your hand. So it's just another recycle piece. It gives you an extra normal depending on what engine you're running, and was just a good way to get an extra normal in the deck. Another world premiere, though, there was also an Infinite Forbidden, so was, again, clearly intended to synchronize with Fiendsmith by the TCG. And this is all original. Sorry, I realized I didn't completely remove those guys. This is all original. Is Necroquip Princess. So, oh wow, sorry. The wiki has an article for this. So, Necroquip Princess was in a spell card from Eternity Code called Necroquip Prism, which lets you summon back a level 4 or lower, or target a level 4 or lower in your graveyard, special summon a monster with an equal or lower level from your hand, then equip them, etc. It was just a weird tech card that didn't do anything. But it came out 4 years before Necroquip Princess. Necroquip Princess is another Dark Fiend Fusion, level 6, 2k, 2k. Who says 1 monster equipped with an equip card, 1 Fiend monster. Must be special summoned from the extra deck by sending the above cards from your hand and or field to graveyard. You can only control 1 Necroquip Princess. If the monster is sent to the graveyard to activate a card or effect, you can activate one of these effects. Draw a card, equip one of those monsters, equip spell, it gives it 500 attack units, each effect once per turn. This is another card you can easily contact fuse in in Fiendsmith that just gives you yet another 6 to go into. And I believe in the Burning Abyss episode, we talked about the... I would ask chat, but you guys aren't. Apparently, you guys are just as tired of seeing Fiendsmith as I thought you were, because despite this being a well-known archetype and we're doing some cool, funny haha jokes, views on this are looking very bad. We'll have to see how it turns out in the long term on the algorithmic end, but not getting a lot of action live, so I guess I'll ask the comments later. But I'm pretty sure that we did check out Luce Dawn's Dusk, or Dusk's Dawning, or whatever the fuck his name is, when we did BA. That's another card that's commonly teched, though, into Fiendsmith because it uses Fiends in the graveyard, which is the thing that this, deck does. The wiki recommends doing stuff like Amano Kujaki or Santa Claus in this deck. Santa Claus, that's a kaiju you can play, I guess. It is a 6 fiend, but you don't get him back, so, it's weird. Amano Kujaki is that level 3 light fiend tuner. You can give her to your opponent and then, change the attribute to, lock out your opponent of stuff. You can technically use her as a tuner to bridge into a synchro package with Fiendsmith, but I don't think you would do that, and if she ends up being special summoned, that's bad for you, because she locks you to, she prevents you from using the effects of light monsters which are special summoned. Like I said, Wave King Caesar, or Wave King High Caesar, is usually the card that you pool into this. That requires 2 fiends. It is a 6, so you overlay it, and then you can block your opponent's summoning. If you can get Desiree out as well, that's a usually negate 1 face up, possibly negate 2. And then you also have the whole ass rest of your deck. So, you can wombo combo a lot. I think Fiendsmith Azamina was used a lot because with the Azaminas, that's a non-standard fusion archetype that can use fiends that are high level and also make 6s. That's whatchamacallit, the Azaminas and White Forests are 2s and 4s make 6s, make 8s, etc. So, it's a solid Wambus canvas. And I think that is about to wrap up all of these guys. I can't really think of anything else to talk about with Fiendsmith. I will extend the stream a little bit, because, to make some round numbers for the algorithm. So, I guess, actually, I should say... Hold on, let me adjust my mic up so I can see better. Sometimes we want to talk about the names of stuff. Some of these are kind of funny, Fiendsmith. It's less censored in the in non-English speaking ones, like in French. It's Démon Forgeron, Spanish is Démon Herrero or Démon Herrera. It can be gendered. The German, though, of course, is extra funny, and I feel like I have to mention it. I'm alone on the pod right now, but I gotta mention it just for the sake of it. It's Underwelter Underworld Smith. So, that's funny. That's a little silly, a little goofy. It's a little Goombas. But we got to figure out what we're going to talk about next. So, we talked about Crystal Beasts. I had that awful thumbnail, which, seemed to have worked for some clicks, but also seems to have gotten some of you to go, what the fuck? Let's see. I believe, double-checking, I did fact-check this. We've definitely done Dark World. We've done most of the trap tricks up to a point. We might want to do a support report type thing on that. But that would mean that the next one is, 'cause we've done, Blue Eyes and other stuff. The next and the final one on our list, because I believe we have done Fire Kings. I'm sure I'll get a comment later for sure. But, sorry, I'm yawning. It will be Crimson King, aka RDA, which is a pretty decent deck that's going places. Like Blazing Dominion's just come out, I believe, so that's like a very strong archetype to talk about. That's very timely. And then there are probably some other stuff, because while there's not a strict deck about it, the tunes were in the old school Pegasus deck, and I did mention recently when talking about some other stuff, like the face card knights, like the Egyptian god cards, that probably need to talk about the tunes at some point. And I think it's time. I think it's time for a big, long tune episode. So we'll put RDA and tunes in the hoppas. And then after that, I got to figure out what else we're doing. Maybe some anime archetypes we haven't talked about. We did a Trickster episode, right? I'm not smoking crack. Pretty sure we've done a Trickster episode. Did we do a Marincess episode? Did we do a Marincess episode? Not a Trickster episode. Who knows? But we have a few things in the can that we're working on, and to keep on checking out stuff. So, and this was, remember, if you're watching the VOD later, this was a Patreon poll option. Support us on Patreon at the $5 level. You get to vote on these, all the time. No real Master Duel news. Oh, I should also say, I mentioned this before as like a support report thing. That's another thing we'll probably be doing a few of. There's some archetypes, we did a million years ago, because we've been doing Fail Portrayal for like 4 or 5 years now. So there are some archetypes that are, how do we say this? Like, they've gotten their big support to talk about, So, there's some room to kind of discuss what their dealio is and update everybody, because there's a few of them we haven't talked about before. I'm not sure exactly what those would be off the top of my head, and there are a few other things we need to get into, like, probably need to do Archfiends at some point properly, because that's like a concept of an archetype that's evolved like a shitload over the year. Over the years. I was just browsing. We should probably talk about GMX at some point. That's another TCG exclusive that's very funny, and I don't think that's gonna ever win a Patreon poll. So that's, we've talked about a lot of TCG exclusive archetypes at various levels, some of which I like. But I was going to say, not a lot of Master Duel news. The next selection pack, which is coming out soon, though, will include Hecka Hands. That's an archetype I'm willing to try. So I will probably be abusing the Master Duel ladder for gems again, to try and rock out with some pure Hecka Hands illusion type shit. But yeah, basically that's going to wrap us up. Wrap us up? Blah. I'm getting a little mealy mouthed at the end, gang, because I'm talking a mile a minute, and I don't really have to. Anyway, hey. We're having an odd week for streaming, but if you happen to watch this VOD and you didn't already, go back and watch our Okami VOD from this week. Tune in tomorrow for Final Fantasy XIV, where we will probably end up running, depending on how things are, the trial again, and we will probably almost assuredly get an Alliance raid run together. I have done the Alliance raid a couple of times, but it's a new week, so it'll be a new week to run it and try and get more stuff, and you can see how we're faring. And if not that, we'll probably get some other stuff done. I know some people need to do some things. Maybe we'll check out Eureka, maybe we'll go back to Occult Crest, and we'll figure out what the fuck we're doing. I gotta figure out if I've used the phrase New Alliance Who Dis before as a stream title. But yes, so let's check out our contento. If you haven't already, check out our first Deathwatch AP. It was pretty cool, pretty fun, pretty tone-setting. We've already recorded the second episode. I want to say other than some funny foolishness bits with the players not really realizing how far 200 meters or 300 meters was. There's a lot of meters. Some funniness there of how much motion of the ocean they get. But it was a fun time, so you should check that out. I think we had a good one. Yeah, honestly, I don't have anywhere to go with that other than that we will eventually probably do the 40k commander decks as a fail portrayal, just to bridge the gap there and yap about stuff. Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to say to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, those of you out there. Clearly, so actually, I should say this. I'm prefacing. This is a joke. This is a joke. But I was gonna say, clearly, streaming about Fiendsmith for fail portrayal was just as much of a mistake as making Fiendsmith in the first place. But you know, some days are like that. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning on in. Sorry, I almost said keep those dice rolling. That's an old school tabletop podcast sign off that's like activated my deep-seated neurons. Anyway, I'm gonna go, you know, touch the shore and you know, go to where the dark stars rise and shadows, you know, lies on Lake Hali, Lost Carcosa. Actually, there's my plug. If you've watched this stream this far to the end, go watch me read Repairer of Reputations. Maybe I'll put it in the end of this video. Good night, everybody.